Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner with the DeKalb County Library System, bringing you another episode of Jewelry with Jen. And today we're getting ready to head into Black History Month, and I wanted to take advantage of that and kind of spotlight some different things for the month. And today we're going to do a super easy, super quick and simple bracelet that's going to be a link link bracelet. I'm going to use colors. I wanted to use some Rasta bead colors and some Black History Month colors. You can use any colors you want, but those are the colors that I decided to use today. And it's going to provide us a very nice, colorful bracelet made out of these links. So what we're going to do is make our links. It's going to be simple wrapped loops on the ends. We're going to be using both 20 and 24 gauge wire, and we're going to make a nice little wrap around our beads and in between our beads in order to create this little artistic link. Really easy, very simple, and really fun to wear. So I wanted to do that, and let's get started because I want you to make this bracelet and then run out and wear it with pride. It is so much fun. It's nicely colorful and really easy to do. So let's get going. The only things that you'll need are your regular tools, your round nose pliers, your chain nose or square pliers, and your cutters. You'll also need any kind of beads that you want. Again, I'm using Black History Month colors, red, black, and green, and Rasta colors, which are red, yellow, and green. And you will need some jump rings. I'm using 6mm jump rings, and again, 20 gauge wire and 24 gauge wire. And what else? Oh, we're going to be making our own clasp. So that's always fun, but it's a very, very easy, very simple clasp. So don't go, it's very easy and very quick. So let's get started on that, and let's get this bracelet out there where you can wear it and have a really good time. So here we go. So I have everything that I need to make my bracelet. Again, I wanted to show you this a little bit more close up. We're going to be making these nice little links, and it's going to have a little bit of a wrap around the beads just to give it a little extra oomph, a little extra something. And it's really easy to do. I've said that about 5 times, but I want to make sure that you know that. So we have our 24 gauge wire that we're going to use for the wrapping. And then we have 20 gauge wire that we're going to use for the pin that makes our link. Okay. And then I'm using 6mm open jump rings, and I'm doing it all in bronze, antique bronze, because I just like that color, and I wanted this to be, well, I started to make it for men, but ladies, you and I both know that we're going to end up wearing this. So this is unisex. Anybody can wear it, and I do believe you will love it. So let's get moving. Oh, and the other thing that you'll need maybe is a ruler. We're not going to do, it doesn't require a lot of measuring, but just so that you can measure out your wire, might be good to have one of those guys on hand. That's better. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is get a piece of wire to use to make the pin and the wrapped loops for our beads. So for that, I don't need a lot. Each one of these is they're not very wide. I like these button beads. I just wanted to do something a little different than our usual round beads that we use a lot. And so they're flat. They don't take up a lot of space. And so the way I determine how much wire I need is to put my beads on and kind of put them down on my, there we go, on my ruler to see how much space they take up. These take up about ½ an inch. Then I'm going to give myself an additional ½ an inch to accommodate the wrapping that's in between each bead. Yeah. So that's 1 inch. Then I'm going to give myself an inch on each side to accommodate the wrap around my loop and my wrap. So I'm going to give myself 3 full inches. There we go. And cut a couple of those. Yeah. Cut a couple of those off. And this is my 20 gauge wire. So the first thing I'm going to do is make myself a nice wrapped loop. And the way I like to do it is to give myself at least a good inch, like I said, on each side to accommodate my loop and my wrap. So you can measure that, or you can just eyeball it to see how much you need. And I like to bend it back at a right angle, like that. And then I'll take my round nose pliers and slide them under my the short tailed wire. I don't need to go too far down because it doesn't have to be that big a loop. Then I'm going to bring this short tail over the top of my pliers and down the side like that. Then I'm going to turn my pliers on top, bring that tail of wire all the way around and under, and I have a little loop. And then I'm going to wrap it. Now I like to hold my loop with my square pliers, but you can also put your pliers, leave your pliers in there and wrap it that way. Whichever way is most comfortable for you, and you just choose the way that you like the best. This is my favorite way. Well, it depends. Sometimes this is my favorite way. So then I just need to wrap that little tail of wire around my stem. I'm just going to give it 2 wraps because I don't need for it to be too much. I'm going to give it 2 full wraps. And then I'm going to clip off this little end, this little long piece that's sticking out here. Clip that off. And I like to make sure that this isn't going to go flying across the room. So I'll give myself this little well, turn it down so that that little piece that I'm cutting off will go down into that little well. Oh, there's a bottom. I forgot there's a little bottom there. And it's stuck down in the bottom instead of flying across the room, where it's going to give me a headache because I have to find it. And then I'll take my pliers and just smash down that little end so that it's not sticking up and waiting to attack me when I put on my bracelet. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do is get a piece of my 24 gauge wire. Now for that, I need about 5 inches. And it's going to vary. I would say give yourself at least 5 inches if you're using this kind of bead, because we're going to be doing this little wrap. But if you're using longer beads, you want to give yourself extra beads, or extra length to accommodate for that. So if my beads were twice this thick, I'd give myself at least another inch. And it just depends on the size of your beads. I only need about 5 inches in order to do my wrap. So I'm going to cut a couple of pieces for that, may as well cut them both. And I don't have to go back to my wire again. All right, cut that off. All right, put that out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is create this little wrap underneath the wrap that I have here around the stem of my wire. I find the easiest way to start it is to put a little bend in my wire like that, and then hook it over my stem. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, just a little bit, because I want to be able to hold on to that while I wrap that wire around. So once I give it one good wrap, it's good. And then if I don't want to waste this, I can wrap it around the other side. Because if there's one thing I do not like, it's wasting wire. And I only need a couple of wraps just to hold that on. Now you can always give yourself more wraps, depends on the look that you're going for. So I've got my 2 wraps on there. I'm going to clip off that edge, that end. There we go. Put that to the side. And now I'm going to introduce a bead. So I'm going to start with one of my Rasta pattern. So I'm going to go red, gold, and green, or red, yellow, and green. Start with my red bead, slide that on my 20 gauge stem. And then I'm going to bring my 24 gauge wire over my bead, like so. So I've just wrapped it around the side here and over my bead. And now it's resting alongside my 20 gauge pin, and I'm going to wrap it around the pin once and twice. And I think on these, I gave myself 3 wraps because I really wanted to emphasize some space in between. So I'm going to give myself one more full wrap. And I'm going to bring it back around to the place where I wrapped over the top here. Now that's the way I did it. You don't have to have them all in the same spot. If you don't want to, you can do one here and then put this one on. Oops, get on there. And you can put your little wrap over here and then put the green one on and put the wrap on the other side. It just depends on the look that you're after. I just started putting them all in the same spot, and that's the way I'm continuing. So now again, I'm going to bring my wire over the top of my bead, hold on to my wire and my bead, and wrap my 24 gauge around the 20 gauge pin. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And we're back where we started and go into the next bead, which is my green one. See that last, oh, and by the way, this is supposed to have some wiggle. So don't worry about that. I know you're probably used to things being kind of really locked in, but it's supposed to have a little bit of wiggle room so that it just makes it a little more fun, a little more organic. It doesn't look quite as stiff. Okay, I'm going to bring my wire over again, over my bead, like so. Hold on to my wire and my bead and wrap. Once, twice, 3 times. And notice I'm pushing it down so it's kind of close to my bead. There we go. And if I need to, I can make some adjustments. I can slide my wire over if I want to make sure it's all meeting up in the same place on each of the beads, like that. Once I have my 3 wraps, I can clip off that tail. Darn it, I have too much wire. That's a whole almost 2 inches. Too much, but that's okay. Too much is better than too little, and 2 inches is enough to use elsewhere. All right, so I've got my beads wrapped. Very nice. No, I didn't push this down very good, did I? Push that little end down there. That's better. And now I'm going to make the loop on my other side. And I want my loops going in the same direction on the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to bend my wire back like I did the first time at a right angle. Grab my round nose pliers, slide my wire down my pliers so I can make my loop. Now, if you ever question, if you don't want to mark up your pliers to make sure that you're making your loops the same size, and you have a question as to whether or not you're in the right place on your pliers, just slide your first loop down your pliers, and that tells you approximately where you need to go when you do your second loop. So now I can go over here. I know that my loop is going to be the same size. How do you like them apples? And I'm going to bring my tail over the top of my pliers and down the side of my beads. I'm going to turn my pliers on top, bring that tail around under the pliers and on top over the beads. So just right between the pliers and the beads. There's my little loop. I'm going to look down here, and would you look at that? They're the same size. Nice. So now I'm going to wrap. Grab my square pliers again, wrap the tail of my wire around once, and we just did twice on the first one, so we'll do the same thing. 2 wraps and clip. Now this tail is long enough so that I can hold on to it when I cut. And I don't have to worry about it flying across the room. Yay. Okay, there we go. I've got my nice little link. See, easy. And if you want to, straighten that out a little bit. There. If you want to, you can make some minor adjustments if everything's not straight the way you want it. But this is pretty good. Nice. Let's do the next one. This one I was going to make red, black, and green because I wanted to alternate colors. So I've got the Rasta colors, my Black History colors, another Rasta, and do another Black History, another Rasta. So I just want to alternate. You can also, why are you doing that? You can also make them all the same color if you want. It's up to you. It's your bracelet. Use your imagination and have a good time. So we're going to do this again. So again, about 1 inch from the end, I'm going to bend back my wire, grab my round nose pliers, slide it down about 1/3 of the way down. My pliers is the size of the loop I'm making. Bring the tail of my wire over the pliers and down the side of my wire. Turn my pliers like so. Bring that tail all the way under. my pliers, and there's my loop. And I'm going to grab my flat pliers and wrap the tail around under my loop 1 time, 2 times, there we go. And let's clip it. I think I need to clip it, maybe not. We'll leave that on there. It's nice. It's not too much. So I'm going to push down that end. Nice and clean. Very good. Grab my 24 gauge wire. Put a bend in it again like I did before. This is just my method. If you don't like that, you can do it without bending it, but I find that it makes it easier for me to hold on to and to start my rat. So I'm going to wrap that around the 20 gauge. And again, once I get a good wrap in there, it's nice and secure. It's still going to slide a little bit, but you have something to hold on to. And then I'm going to take my short tail and wrap it around the other side so I don't waste quite so much. And then I'm taking my fingernail to push it together, but if you don't want to do that or you're afraid you'll ruin your nails, just take your pliers and just push against the wire until the rings are nicely pushed together. And then once I have that on there, I can clip off that short tail. And I actually have enough to hold on to, so I don't have to use my little well trick. Just clip that off, put it to the side, and I'm ready to introduce my bead. So this one is going to be red, black, and green. So my red one on first. Oh, I think I need to push this down a little bit better, or at all. I don't think I did that step. I don't want that little end to be sticking me. There we go. That's better. Where did my bead go? There it is. All right. Oops. Come back here. Put my bead on. Did I get out of the way there? Did I move? Okay. Put my bead on, bring my wire up over my bead, like so. Over the top of my bead and along the side of my 20 gauge pin. And then I'm going to wrap. So I'm going to hold on to my wire and my bead so it's nice and stable. And I'm going to wrap the 24 gauge around the 20 gauge pin. Once, twice, and 3 times. And again, 3 times is what I did. You can do it 4 times, you can do it 2 times. It depends on how much space you want in between your beads. That's all. So I'm back to where I started here on my other bead. I'm going to introduce my black bead to my pin, slide that on. And bring my wire up over the bead. Like so. and wrap it around the pin. It's a good idea to hold on to this wire because otherwise it shifts. So I'm going to hold my wire, keep it in place, wrap 24 gauge around my 20 gauge pin once, twice, and 3 times. And let's put the last one on. A nice little green one. Slide that on. Bring the wire up over the bead. Hold on to it, hold it in place. Wrap it around the pin. One time, one wrap, 2 wraps, and 3 wraps. And again, too much wire left. I cut off 5 inches. I only needed maybe 4. You still need a little bit of a tail so that you have something to turn with. So I wouldn't cut it all the way down to the 3.5 that I used. Give myself a little bit extra that I can use to do my wrap. And then I just have to cut a little bit off. But like I said, this 1 3/4, 2 inches, that's enough for me to use elsewhere. Now I'm going to clip off that tail, hold on to it so it doesn't fly. Okay, there we go. And push down that little end so that it's nice and snug against my pin. And there we go. Everything nice and neat. And again, we still have a little bit of wiggle because we want that. And let's get ready to do my other loop. Again, I want it to go in the same direction as this loop. So I'm going to bend it back so that this one's going this way. This is going this way. That means my loop is going to be going in the same direction as my first loop. And again, I can use the check to see where I should place my wire. This gives me a little edge as far as knowing that my loops are going to be about the same. So I've got my wire down there about 1/3 of the way down my pliers like I have on the first one. I'm going to bring the tail of my wire over the pliers down the side of the bead. Then I'm going to turn my pliers until they're laying horizontally to the beads, and I'm going to bring that wire under the pliers, right in between the pliers and the beads. And there's my loop. Now let's check it out. Yeah, they look about the same size. Good job. And now let's do our wrap. Grab my pliers, and I do 2 wraps with this wire, 1 and 2. And the good part about this, wrapping this over the little wire, is that you cover up that little nub that's on there of the little wire, and you only have 1 nub left, which is the big wire that you have to press down. Right? Now I'm ready to clip that end off. Oops, come back here. Hold on to that end. Cut that off. There we go. And push that tail down with the pliers. Nice and neat. Now, I want to show you something. If you look at my loops, they're not going exactly the same direction. One's going slightly up and the other's going side to side. That's an easy fix. You can either use your hands or use your pliers, and you can just twist that until they're both going in the same direction. Easy peasy. There we go. Neat. Now I have my links. Make any adjustments that I need to. This one's a little off to the side, so let's just scoot it over a little bit. There we go. Nice and neat. Yeah. So now I have all of my links because, of course, I made some ahead of time. And you just need to make as many links as you need to go around your arm. That's the whole point. So now I've got all my little links. I have to decide how I want to arrange them. And I'm just going to alternate. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to do, what have we got? 3 of the Rasta color. So I'm going to just space them out that way. I think I want them all to go in the same direction. So I've got red, yellow, and green. I'm going to put the red, black, and green in between. So yeah, that's going to be how it looks. Yeah, that's it. It's going to be my bracelet. And so what I'm going to do now is put it together with my jump rings. Make sure I have them arranged the way I want. Okay, there we go. Yes, and yes. So I'm going to start by, what is that? Get out there. Taking a jump ring. I'm going to show you the proper way to open your jump rings. Grab your jump ring. Here's a little opening on the side here of my jump rings. I'm going to grab one side of it with my pliers, and I'm going to take my thumb on the other side and push down. So now it's nicely open. Let me do that again. Take my pliers on one side, my thumb on the other, push down, and it's open. I just need, well, quite a few of those actually. And I'm going to show you another way to do it. You can also use your fingers if you just want to use your fingers and twist them open, but these are 6 millimeter, very small, so it's kind of hard to get my fingers on both sides. Because it's so tiny. Okay, I said I was going to show you another way to do it, and that is to put your pliers on one side, grab another set of pliers, put them on the other side, and twist. And it's open. Let's try that again. One side with one pair, the other side, twist. Nice. Now, I'm doing so many of these because I need several. Because when I do links, I like to do a double link. I use double jump rings. I think it looks prettier, and it also gives me a sense of a little more safety in my connection. Okay, so let's see what we have. So I'm going to take a jump ring. I don't like a lot of stuff in the camera because I think it kind of takes you away from what I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to take a jump ring and I'm going to slide it in one of my rings like that. And then I'm going to take my next one, which is going to be red, black, and green one. and I want it to go that way. So I'm going to slide that on. And I'm going to close my loop. Close up that jump ring. Make sure it's nice and closed, that the edges are nicely together. And there's my link. Neat, huh? And then I'm going to put on a second jump ring to make sure it's doubly secure. So again, I'm going to slide my jump ring through the loop on the top of my beads. Make sure you ignore the jump ring loop. You don't want to catch that up in here. And slide your jump ring in the loop on the other beads and close. Close that up. Make sure that they're nice and flush together. And there's my link. Nice. Let's do the next one. Flip that around because I want it to go red is on the outside. This is my pattern. Doesn't have to be yours. Let's grab another jump ring. Slide it on my loop. Slide my second loop in there. Put really very funny. All right. Jump ring. Loop. Don't do that again. Second loop. And close it up. Thought you were going to get away from me. All right, let's do the next jump ring. Slide it in my loop above my beads. Make sure I don't get it caught in my other jump ring. Slide it in my other loop and close it. Starting to look like a chain. All right, which one is next? Let's go with this one. You can see my pattern coming along here. Grab another jump ring. Slide it on my loop. Slide my other loop. Close up my jump ring and ready to go. I do this stupid sing-songy stuff just to keep myself entertained. You don't have to listen to me because it sounds really stupid, but it makes me happy. Loop, other loop, close it up. Make sure it's nice and secure. Close it, close it, close it. There we go. Nice. One more. Jump ring, loop, loop, and close. Jump ring, loop, loop, and close. Make sure it's nice and tight. Very good. And there are all of my pieces. Neat, huh? I like it. I'm going to measure, see how long it is. My wrist is 7.5 inches, and this is 7. That's perfect because we are going to make a clasp now. And that's perfect. Okay, so now, and you can also use extra jump rings to lengthen it a little bit if you want or need to. All right, so now, well, we'll wait and put the other jump ring on once I make the clasp. So now we're going to make our hook clasp. And for that, I'm making a very, very simple hook. And for that, all I need really is about 2 inches. I'm going to give myself 2 inches of wire. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to make it, oh, that doesn't look quite even, does it? I'm going to snip that so that it's nice and flat. There we go, much better. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to make the tiniest little loop I can. That means I need to grab the tip of my pliers, my wire with the tip of my pliers. And see how it's fighting me? It likes to slide out. It says, no, I don't want to do that. Just make it conform. So I'm going to grab my wire, and what I suggest is not to squeeze it too tight, because as soon as you do, it pops right out. So I'm anchoring it on my finger. I'm holding it with my thumb and other finger. I get a little bit of a good grip, make a little turn, and now I should be able to grasp it because I have a little bit to anchor it with. See, now, see, I just said that and you're just making me look bad. Okay, grab that tip, give it a little turn, give it another little turn, until it's starting to make a tiny little loop. See that? Now I only want to go, oh man, I was off camera. I'm going to do that again because I really want you to be able to see what the heck I was doing. And I still think I have enough, even with that cut off. All right, let's do this again. So I'm making a teeny tiny little loop, grabbing the end, a little bend in there. See, it's fighting me. It says, I don't want to go. I don't want to go around that curve. Well, you have to. Make a little loop. And I'm only going to go about 3/4 of the way around. I'm not going to completely close it. And I'll tell you why. Because I want to take my flat pliers, my chain nose pliers, and I want to squish this down against the back of my wire. So I'm going to squish this little loop as tight as I can get it so that's the teeniest, tiniest little loop possible. And I can't get that if I try to do it with my pliers. See, my pliers won't even go in there. But I need for it to be tiny because this is going to go through here or here to hook for my closure. And if you would rather, you can always use a jump ring if you don't want it to be that small. I'm going to squeeze it a little bit more, make it a little bit small, make it as small as I can. Just really squish it. And there I've got my little teeny tiny loop. The next thing I'm going to do is take my pliers. I'm going to slide my wire all the way almost to the very, very back of my pliers. Trying to find the camera. There we go. It's the back of my pliers. I'm going to give it a little bit, just the teeniest space in between my pliers and my loop, just the tiniest little space. Now, the loop side is facing, I'm calling it down on my pliers. It's on one side of my pliers and the flat part is on the other side. Now I want to rotate away from the loop side that's hanging down my pliers. So I'm going to rotate my pliers, just hold my wire and rotate until the long edge of my pliers touches the head of my wire. And now I have the cutest little shepherd's hook ever known to man. Isn't that adorable? So now, as you can see, I still have a good 1.5 inches left. Isn't that interesting? Why? Because I want to make a wrapped loop at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is come down about 1/4 inch away from my loop. So there's my loop. I'm going to come down about here, and really just give yourself about 1/4 inch. You don't need to have that much distance between this tiny loop and the loop that you're about to make. Okay, so now I'm going to make a little loop. So I'm going to bring the tail of my wire. I'm trying not to block your vision. Bring the tail of my wire around and back towards the back of my shepherd's hook, and then bring it all the way around until it's under my pliers, like so. So now what do I have? I have a loop. And I want to center that loop. So I'm going to bend the wire back until it's nicely centered, so that the little crossing part is right under my loop, like so. And then I need to hook it into one side of my bracelet. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to just snap that into place, like so, so that they're nicely hooked in together. Then I'm going to wrap that loop there we go. Just going to wrap my wire up towards my shepherd's hook, just 2 or 3 times, or as many times as you like. I wouldn't go any further than the loop, because if you do, then you'll block the opening that you need to fasten your bracelet. So once I get to this point, I need to use my pliers because it's too short for me to use my fingers anymore. Okay, so bring that around. And then this little teeny tiny edge that I have on here, I don't want that sticking out. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to squeeze that down until it's resting nice and close to my wire. There. And there's my shepherd's hook. And I want to give it a little bit of a graceful curve instead of just a straight edge. So I'm going to go in with my pliers, just the tip of my pliers, right over where the wrap is. And I'm going to tilt that back just a little bit. So I have a little curve in there. Isn't that cute? Adorable. Cute, huh? Now that just hooks right into my loop. And there's my bracelet. Now, if you need more length, mine is okay. If you need more length, you can add jump rings. I like mine to be a little, I don't like it to be too long, but I'm going to add a couple of jump rings on there, or I mean a jump ring on there just to show you that you can just make it a little longer. You can even make a little chain if you want to. Let's do that. We had 2 jump rings on there like I did when I made my links. I'm going to add 1 more jump ring on the end. Make sure I put it through both of the jump rings there. Close it up. And now I have a little bit of a longer bracelet if I want it. And that's just how I extend it. Now I like my little loop to be very, very close to the back of my hook. So I like to push it back until it's kind of resting against the back of my hook, because I like to make sure that this isn't going to slide out. It's still easy enough to get on and off, but I know it's secure and it's not going to just slide off arbitrarily. There is my bracelet, ladies and gentlemen. Told you, neat, tidy, easy to make, not a big deal, very pretty. And that's it. That's my bracelet. Awesome, huh? I love it. Love, love. Okay, that's it. That's our piece for today. I hope you like it. Let's go to the big camera. Okay, I wanted to show you a nice close-up version. I'm going to show you on the big camera, but I thought you can see it better down here on the little camera. And I wanted to also show you, I added another set of rings because it was a little tighter than I wanted, even though I like mine a little snug. And here's our little hook. Yeah, nice. Okay, let's take a look at it in the other camera, shall we? Ta-da! There is my bracelet. I love it. So easy to make, very, very simple. Oh, and I love the colors. I love them. That's it. Another neat piece of jewelry. Yay, yay, yay. Ignore me. Anyway, that's our piece for the day. That's our instruction for the day. I hope you liked it. Please let me know one way or the other if you enjoyed it. And if there is anything that you did not understand, please send me an email at jewelrygin, that's JEWELRYGIN @gmail. Oh, I missed a part. Jewelrygin, JEWELRYGIN 20 @gmail.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them, even if they aren't about this particular bracelet. You might have questions about any of the other videos and tutorials that we've done, and I would love to hear from you. I'd also love to hear any ideas and things that you would like to see me do, if you would like to let me know what those are. So until next time, stay warm. I'm trying to stay warm. Stay safe, and see you later.